And I'm like, okay, I'm almost done with college at this point. I have a few months left. I made a list of all the agencies that I wanted to go to, the top 10 agencies in New York at that.
Okay.
And I took my pictures, made my little book, printed everything that I saw on Top Model that I needed to go to these agencies. And I stayed with her for a week between final and graduation. And the first agency told me no.
Wow.
The second agency was like, maybe yes, take our card. If you come to New York, maybe call us. And the third agency I went to, they were like, don't go anywhere else. We want to sign you. Here's the contract. When you're ready to move here, come back.
Hey, everybody. This is Melvin Johnson. Welcome to episode 7 of Processing the Process.
Lucky number 7.
Absolutely. Number 7. You hear number 7. So I have an exciting guest again for you to absorb some of her processes, things that she did to become a success, people that we may have seen in TV or in print and magazines and so on and so forth. But without letting the cat out of the bag too much, I want you to introduce yourself. So please introduce yourself to everyone.
I am Chekesha Johnson. I was born in Nashville, Tennessee. Moved to Houston in the middle of the 3rd grade, and I've been working as a model the last 12 years in New York.
In New York, modeling. So
modeling.
Let's not be modest. I want you to kind of dig in and give us your, I really want you to brag, to be quite honest.
I'm
want
not
you
the
to
bragger,
Exactly.
I like to let my work brag for me.
It's perfect. I agree with you, and I think that's very healthy. However, in this context, I want to give people a backstory to know exactly what you have accomplished in that short amount of time and really just be honest and transparent. So if you can give us maybe some of the people that you work with, some of the shows you've been involved with, what have you done in that short amount of time thus far? Because I know it's a long list of names that you're probably going to forget some people. But
Oh, no. Okay. So do you want me to start from the beginning?
From the beginning,
started.
I'm pretty sure the first one that I can recall was Academy.
Academy,
and
yes.
I know some things that you have now was your first print ad, but just so people know who you are and that you really are tenured in this industry, in this modeling industry, I just want you to give them some of the clientele that you work with, some work that you've done, just to give context about who you are and the success that have already reached.
So yes, like you said, my first print job was Academy. I did that actually here in Houston when I was still in high school. So I didn't even tell my whole story. I got to start from the beginning to get to it.
We're going to get to the whole story.
But, okay.
Go ahead. Get to the beginning. We're going to start to the beginning.
Okay, look. I've done 17 magazine, Glamour, Cosmo, Essence, Ebony, Jet, Teen Vogue, pretty much every
print publication out there.
For girls, mostly.
Okay.
I've been on all those. I've done TV shows, Project Runway. I've done I've done model on different TV shows, like Law and Order.
Yeah.
I've shot Nike campaigns. I've shot commercials for Kohl's and Palmer's Cocoa Butter. That was really my first national ad that went all over, national and international, because they played in other countries also.
Okay.
And
so this has been a lot. Obviously, the moral of this story, you've done a lot. You've been in a lot of print ads. You've been commercials, television shows, television competition shows.
Yes.
The list goes on. But like you said, I do want you to tell your whole story and kind of give us the backstory. I know you said you were born in Nashville, moved to Houston. Kind of give us that upbringing, only child, multiple siblings. Give us a little bit more about that context of your backstory.
Okay, so my mother she's from Houston. My dad is he grew up in California. So they met in college.
Okay.
Had me when my mom was in medical school in Nashville. So that's how I ended up in Nashville. She was in the middle of medical school, got pregnant, and her and my dad, they got married, lived together. That marriage did not last very long, unfortunately.
Understood.
Fortunately.
Yeah.
For the best. But they broke up, and I ended up moving to Houston in the middle of the 3rd grade.
Okay.
So my mom ended up coming 4th grade, but I did grow up as the only child. Even though my father has another son, he grew up in California. So we didn't really see each other except holidays and summertime sometimes, spring break, when we were both in Nashville visiting my dad.
Okay.
Because he lived in Nashville until I was done with college.
Okay.
So anyway, came to Houston and I started playing sports. So really, like, my whole life is kind of shaped around playing sports.
Okay.
Because I
And
think
what sport was your basketball? What was it?
I started off running track, like summer track, cross country, and then when I got to middle school, I did basketball, cross country, track, and then in high school, I was excelling in basketball, like ranked in the city for basketball.
Okay.
And I started receiving a lot of scholarship opportunities, but that's later on. So playing sports, like, definitely made me like a very competitive person, made me want to like go out, go get it, you know.
Yeah.
Very competitive, yeah. That's me. I want to win at everything.
Uh-huh.
Every single thing, like even if it's Monopoly, like I
Gotta
will
win.
almost cheat to win. Like I have to win. Yeah. So top model started coming on around like the end of high school.
This was like Tyra Banks' Top Model, if I recall. This
Yeah.
was UPNWB back when it was on, if
It
I
did.
recall, right?
And I
Okay.
didn't really watch it at first,
Uh-huh.
but my teacher, who grew up with my mother, she worked at my high school. She was like, "You need to go to my agency." And I'm like, "Agency? What is that?" You know? She was like, "No, I think that you have a look to model, and I want you to visit my agency here in Houston." So, you know, I kind of was like, modeling, me? I want to play basketball. You know, I want to
Okay,
play
so
sports.
this was high school and modeling wasn't on your radar. You
Modeling
wasn't.
was never a dream of mine.
Never.
No,
Okay.
Never. I never looked in a magazine and was like, I want to be that girl. But I would look in magazines and like, I could do that, you know, or I could do this. 'Cause
Yeah.
I thought I could do everything.
Yeah. And you were competitive.
Very. So she told me to go visit her agency here in Houston. I did that. You had to pay like $1,500
Just to.
to get with the agency here in Houston.
Okay.
And that was for like classes. So they taught you how to do makeup and walk on the runway and how to speak in interviews
So
and
that was
things
your
like that.
introduction to the modeling world and getting a better understanding of everything that modeling had to offer and the right way to, I guess, walk and smile. And
Right.
Okay.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Okay.
I guess that's what it was. But it did help me because I had never put on makeup before. My grandma took me to the store. I was 16. She brought me to the Clinique counter in the mall, bought everything for me to, you know, go to the class. So then, you know, I'm putting on makeup and taking pictures and everybody's like, "You're so great." And I'm feeling it and I'm loving it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
dang. Modeling is kind of fun, even though I was strictly like basketball. Well, I was really track, but my dad is like, "No, you got to play basketball." But I'll come to that later. So I started modeling here in Houston. I would do academy and like local runway shows, and it, you know, it was like an introduction, but it wasn't really like anything like super big.
Okay.
So I ended up getting a basketball scholarship to play in Arkansas Pine Bluff. So there's really no fashion in Arkansas. Like really all we had was Walmart.
Wow.
And you know, I don't know if you know, but Walmart is where the home base for
Yeah.
I mean, Arkansas is the home
Walmart.
base for
Yeah.
Walmart. So really, Walmart was really all that was in Pine Bluff. So I played basketball, and then I started watching Top Model, right? So I sent in a tape, right?
Like just like
I
you was
sent
in
in
your
the audition
dorm,
tape.
you did an audition tape?
I did in my dorm. I was showing pictures on my dorm room wall, and they called me.
Really?
They're like, "Hey, we want you to come down and audition." And I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, we think you got what it takes." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's go." So I went to the audition, of course, and they didn't pick me. But that didn't stop me. You know, I still was like taking little pictures with photographers at in college.
Okay.
Still playing basketball. I played.
Did this start to become a passion, or it just was, okay, people are calling me back, I think I have something here, let me continue it? Or was it still a hobby at this point?
It was still a hobby at this point, but also I had already started getting checks for this.
Okay, so you started to see some income
Yes,
around while you were
Houston.
still in college.
No, not in college.
Not in college, okay.
In college, I was doing stuff for free. Just taking pictures, putting them on Facebook
Yeah.
and things like that because
Okay.
we didn't have Instagram then. But yeah, so it was just still kind of hobby fun, but basketball, like I'm playing basketball, you know, all 4 years. I was MVP my senior year. Freshman year, I was like newcomer of the year. Like sophomore year, defensive player of the year. I was ranked in like block shots and the whole swag. And,
Baller.
you know, so like that was all. And then my dad was like, basketball, you know,
Yeah.
you playing basketball. I actually had more track scholarship offers, and I was going to go to U of H and run track, but my dad is like, "No, you're going to play basketball.
Oh, wow. So
Yes.
it was all basketball. So was it ever a goal to be in the WNBA at this time?
That's what I wanted
So
to do.
that was the goal.
That
the
was
goal
the
was
goal.
WNBA.
Yes, like I thought I was cute taking pictures and all that, but I still wanted to go to the WNBA.
Okay.
You know, my mom, when I was little, we had season tickets to all the like Comets games, so I was
And this was when the Comets was
back
like,
to back to back. We was
Yeah,
in
they
there.
would
We
hold it
was
down.
winning everything. So,
Yeah.
you know, my favorite player was Cheryl Swoops. I'm like, I want to be her when I grow up.
Okay.
I'm going to be Cheryl Swoops. I even wanted to be number 22, but they only had like 21 or 20,
so
like
you had to
numbers
settle
all
for-
around. Even in college, I wanted to be 22. I ended up with 20. But that's neither here nor there. So now I'm modeling a little bit in Arkansas and still playing basketball. My mom runs into another one of her friends because, you know, her friend in high school is the one that sent me to her agency here in Houston. So now she runs into one of her friends, and she's a photographer in LA. Her name is Cindin Collier.
Okay.
And she was shooting like covers of Marie Claire. Like she was shooting big things in LA. So my
So
mom
this
was
is a
like,
bigger photographer. Like, would this be considered at this time probably the biggest photographer at this point?
that I've worked with, yes.
Okay, up until this point. And this is, are we still in college or just coming out of college?
I'm still in college. I'm like
Okay.
my junior year now in college. So my mom runs into one of her friends that is shooting a lot of stuff in LA. And she's like, oh, my daughter models. And the lady's like, yeah, whatever. Everybody mom says
Yeah.
that. Or, you know, she's like, let me see some pictures. So then my mom shows her pictures from like stuff I did in Houston and stuff I was doing a little bit in Arkansas. And she was like, you know, she
Might be
kind of
something
has
here.
potential. You know, if she ever wants to come to LA, I'll shoot her. So I'm like, I hear that. I get on the computer. I'm like booking flights to LA for spring break.
Okay.
So spring break, I go my junior year.
Okay.
I go to LA, shoot with her. She shops my photos around to agencies in LA, and they're like, you know, we'll sign her. So I'm like, okay.
So this starts to take off. At this point.
Okay, so there's some interest here, but I'm still in school. You know, I want to get my degree. More than anything, my dad wanted me to finish. 'Cause-
Sound like he had, at least that post was on like, hey, if you're going to do this, at least you're going to do is finish college.
Finish college,
Okay.
right. So I did end up finish college, and I got a degree in computer science.
Okay.
With a minor in information systems. So I'm really like a nerd on the low, but we're not going to talk about that. That's a secret. Nobody has to know that. Yes. So I walked across the stage, but now one of my friends that I would model with in Arkansas, she moved to New York maybe like 2 years before this to model.
Okay.
So she already had an apartment and everything in New York, and I'm like, okay, I'm almost done with college at this point. I have a few months left. I made a list of all the agencies that I wanted to go to, the top 10 agencies in New York at that.
Okay.
And I took my pictures, made my little book, printed everything that I saw on Top Model that I needed to go to these agencies. And I stayed with her for a week between final and graduation, and the first agency told me no.
Wow.
The second agency was like, maybe yes, take our card, you know, if you come to New York, maybe call us. And the third agency I went to, they were like, don't go anywhere else. We want to sign you. Here's the contract. When you're ready to move here, come back.
So
I'm
this
like,
was, so you, just to get a better understanding, which sounds fantastic, that you, one, had a goal and you had a plan to execute that goal. So you had your top 10 list. Like, you started at the top of the number one agency you wanted to go to and just went down the line and just shopped yourself around.
I did.
Nice. So third one, they didn't want you to walk out the building. They're ready for you to sign
They
right then and
said,
there.
sign right here. And when you move here, we're going to put you to work.
Wow. So that was you fast track. Now you're a model at this point. Is that safe to say?
Well, at this point, I go back home.
Okay.
Well, I go back to Arkansas, graduate. Then I actually come back to Houston.
Okay.
I graduated in December. I came back here, got a job. I worked at Papacitos.
Which one?
One on 610.
16 in Houston. Okay.
610 in Houston. I worked there from December to April.
And what was the thought process behind that? Were you just trying to get as much money as possible to set up in New York?
Yes, because
Okay.
I already knew I was going to New York at this point. When they gave me that contract, I was like, I have a job when I graduate college. It might not be in my field, but I have a job.
Perfect.
So I work 4 months hard, save every dollar that I have, every dollar. And I buy a one-way ticket and I move to New York. So I stayed with the same girl. I stayed with her for a couple of months, but she lived like so deep in Jersey. It took me like an hour and a half to get to
Really?
the city for all my auditions and everything. So I'm like, I haven't been in New York maybe less than a month, and I booked a Nike campaign
Wow.
with Terry Richardson also. So he's like a really big photographer in New York. And then I'm shooting Essence magazine probably a month after that.
Oh, so you really went to work.
That's the thing, because watching it on TV or you hearing other people's story, because even some of my friends that had been there for years, like they weren't working, they hadn't gotten signed by agency yet.
So let's break this down, because obviously this show is processing the process, and we kind of want to break it down. I know that we're sharing your story, and it may come across as easy as, I had my pictures, I had my headshots. Yes, you did the work and went to go shop around and try to work with the best agency that you felt was right for you. But in that time, for you to be there within a month, 2 months to start booking gigs right away, what did you do in that time? Because I want to say that it sounds easy as you just going to auditions and picking you, but is there something that you did that was unusual, or something that you did that was a part of your process? If I do this, if I present myself in this way, if I talk to this individual, like what did you do differently that some of the other girls didn't?
I think that, and I'm a very shy person also. I seem to turn on when the camera comes on, but it's not really me. So I think that even today, like a lot of my clients, they just love my personality.
Okay.
They just love being around me. So I think that gets you, in the door a little bit more and helps you once they see that, like, oh, she's fun to be around, she'll make the shoot fun and easy, then that helps out a
So
little
that was
bit.
important in that field, is being personable and having a personality as opposed to just a picture or a photo and let that speak for itself. You wanted people to understand Chekesha. You wanted people to understand who you were and show your personality, that you were fun to work with, as you say, right?
Right.
Okay.
So even though pictures do speak a lot of words, it's still, you have to put the emotion behind it.
Understood.
So I can't just sit there and smile. Like you have to feel it also, because you're trying to sell the product.
Yes, that's why they're hiring you.
Right. So, and it wasn't easy. I did come to New York and book those 2 jobs, but I didn't work after that for months.
Wow.
I didn't book another job for months after that.
Months as in like 2 or 3 months, or were you talking like a 6-month drought?
Probably like 6, 7
Wow.
months. Yeah.
So what'd you do in that time?
So another thing is, and this can go back also into the beginning of my story, I have always had like a super like hustle mentality. Middle school, high school, I was selling CDs. My mom hit the lottery like on a scratch off and won like $800 and bought me a computer. And
Wow.
nobody really had a computer in my high school at this time. I went
Okay.
to school, kind of in the hood. And I had a CD burner, so I would like make CDs and sell them for like $5
Oh, so
to
you was
everyone.
doing whatever you could to
I'm
make
doing
money.
whatever.
It was an
And
entrepreneur.
even-
You needed to make money.
Yeah, that, and that's kind of always been in me. I always was like the top seller of the candy in school. I won like so many TVs and stereos, and I sold candy, I sold CDs, and actually that's how I paid for modeling school, because it was like $1,500, and my mom was like, I can't pay for that. I just found actually a book when I was cleaning up my mom's house, where I was taking donations from people in my school for
Really?
modeling. Yes,
Wow. So you were your own GoFundMe before GoFundMe.
I was.
Crowdsourcing in high school.
Crowdsource, exactly, selling CDs, begging people for money, but I ended up getting the money and going through it. So actually, before I moved to New York, I had already found a job. I was on the internet looking for a job. So Abercrombie, they hire models to like stand in the store and greet people, but
Okay.
they actually hire the the Abercrombie on Fifth Avenue. They only hire like professional models. So they have in their system where if you have a casting or a photo shoot, you just tell them and they'll let you off.
Good. So it was easy being in the modeling world, working for a company that understood how modeling works and auditions and
Right.
the time you needed to go to make the auditions. So that was good for you in the meantime, in between time, so to speak, right?
It was good for me. It was $9 an hour.
Not much money in New York.
It wasn't, but it held me down until I got fired. That's the first job I ever got fired for, and I've been working. Like I started getting jobs at 16.
Yeah.
So they were like, "You don't seem like you want to be here," and I'm like, do you want to be here? Because you're really standing in one spot dancing to the same songs you hear.
The whole time trying to.
Greeting people,
Gotcha.
So I ended up getting fired. But then that's when I discovered that there was promotional modeling.
Okay. So let's talk about that.
Promotional modeling is when you, say, for example, you're in a store passing out samples of a new product that's out, but you get people to come and test the product.
Yep.
So I was out there passing out lipsticks during Fashion Week, like all that, and it paid $25 an hour. So while I was standing in Abercrombie for 6-7 hours, I was getting the same amount working 2 hours doing nothing. So between then, I would do promotional modeling. So then my top 10 agency, now I've been with them for 2 or 3 years at this point. Okay. They dropped me.
Wow. So they dropped you at this point.
They dropped me.
And at this point how many gigs have you had done? Maybe a handful?
Probably like
less
8.
than 10? 8? Okay, less than 10. They dropped you.
They dropped me.
Obviously,
because they were on me about my weight at the time,
okay.
And I was way skinnier than I am now. But that was also the industry at the time. Like, they wanted, like, stick skinny models.
Understood.
And they were trying to get me to lose weight and do all this stuff that I really didn't do.
Okay.
And they said I wasn't booking enough jobs, so they dropped me. So now I'm like, even though I've saved up a lot of money at this point, well, not a lot of money, but enough money for me to live without...
To support yourself. You had a runway, sort of speaking, to you picked up your next gig or your next job.
But then, I don't know, I guess I kind of got a little, like, depressed or discouraged a little bit because I'm like, now I'm here with no agency, so now I'm just passing out stuff and smiling. And
doing the promotion.
Yeah, but I'm not really doing what I want to do. I want to be on the runway. I want to be on TV.
Yeah.
So I kind of got discouraged, and, I was like, I'm not fat. But then I would just be eating more. I even gained, like, more weight, and I started traveling and, like, partying. This is still, I'm still young at this time, so... I'm just like, forget modeling at this point. But then I was, after about 6 months, I was like, okay, no, let me get my life back together.
So
let me get
back to center.
Let me focus. And I went to another agency. And when I walked in the door, they were like, Chekesha. I'm like, you know me? They're like, yeah, you did that Nike campaign.
Oh, wow. So you have made a name for yourself, at least in this industry. This agency that you walked into.
Yeah, and I'm like who knew? Like, I'm like surprised that they knew who I was. And he's like, yeah, we're going to sign you right then. So then now I'm working a lot more now. Still just doing jobs here and there. I still was doing the promotional modeling on the side, but now I'm booking like way more jobs.
Okay, so you're back into it. Now you're booking more jobs, getting more clientele, I'm assuming.
And just working. So that's when I booked the Palmer's Cocoa Butter, which was really my first big job, my first international commercial. The first time I'm speaking on TV, the first time people are calling me like, hey, I just saw you on a commercial.
So this is when the mom's proud, dad is like,
my mom's been proud. She got all the magazines, everything
proud,
in her trunk
this is
still.
like when you're TV, like friends, family, people are calling, hey, I saw your commercial. Like this is, now it's like, okay, she is... I guess in other people's mind, she really is a model.
Yeah, now you're seeing it. Because, every month it's in Essence magazine. So, and this is when people are still, because this is like the mid-2000s, 2010s. Okay. So, people still are reading magazines and all this.
Yeah. So
now I'm working a lot more. I ended up getting 2 agencies at that time. So I had one more fashion and one more commercial print. So I'm like just working.
So things picked up for you.
Things picked up, and they haven't slowed down since. Actually, they've gotten a lot better because of social media.
Oh, that's a blessing.
The internet has really changed my job. And while I thought I would only be there 5-6 years, now I'm still there working actually more now than I worked then.
What do you contribute that to?
The internet.
Just like the internet. But we say the internet, and yes, 100% I agree with you that social media, internet can take off and put you into a different direction and give you more exposure. But have you been utilizing the internet differently than most people have? That's in your field? Like, are you doing something different that they're not doing?
See, I'm not even talking about my personal social media. And I'm saying companies now, they would put millions of dollars to be on TV or in a magazine. But now they can put a couple $1,000, shoot it for their social media, shoot it for Instagram ads, Facebook ads, and all that. And that stuff has to constantly be updated. So there's a lot more work now.
Because they need to fill the pipeline of all the social outlets. Okay, that makes sense.
So now I'm shooting all the time. Like,
That's good.
I'm somebody's like, "Oh, you on my Snapchat story?" Like, "Oh, I just saw you on Pinterest." Like, I get those emails like all the time because there's always, and that stuff is always there.
Yep.
You know, so it's really like the tech boom. I like love it. Like, I've been a techie since I was really little, and now it's like it's transitioned and helped me in the modeling field now because there's so much more work now, and you don't have to be super skinny for that anymore. Like, they want regular looking people.
How do you feel about that? I mean, I wanted to really talk a lot about a lot of things, and you gave us a lot of information, but how do you feel now where the industry is that weight? I mean, just that alone, from what I know from a distance, it's always, like you said, skinny. You have to be a certain amount of pounds. You have to look a certain way.
You have to be tall or all that. But now it's just really changed a lot because they have switched the industry from being like exclusive, like high cheekbones, 5'10", 100 pounds, to being more inclusive now. You know, you see people with disabilities now. You see people of all shapes, sizes. Yeah. And actually the plus size industry is like $billion industry. Like, they put so much money into that. There's so many jobs for plus size models now. It's like my agency is kind of like, if you want to gain a little bit more weight, you know,
really? Wow, that is totally different.
Totally
from
different.
Where you first got let go from gaining what could have been 3 pounds, but looks like whatever it looks like on the camera, to now it's like, hey, if you want to, don't be afraid. We have work for you
for
still.
Thanksgiving. I'm like, okay.
Wow. So you know, in your process and being where you are and being tenured in the industry and doing amazing things, and obviously I want to get to some of the other stuff that you're doing to build your brand and your personal brand, but you know, has that been a difficult process from where you were to where you are now? Do you feel like it's been, how do you feel about your process? Has it been something that you look back on like, wow, I can't believe I had to walk from here to here in the snow? I did all, like, what was some things that you did that you felt was normal to you, but most people just didn't do it?
Oh, I would be in the gym all day, every day, 7 hours a day, twice a day sometimes, trying to, you know, keep fit. And that was like earlier on. Okay. But, you know, when you was asking me what set me apart also, I would research the client before I would go into the audition. So really? I would Google, see what kind of look they usually go for, try to dress the part, or give them what they wanted. If I see all their ads are like smiling, happy, I'm gonna go in there super smiling, happy. So I think that also helped me to like book a lot of jobs because really I would just felt like I was prepared when I go in there. So I don't know. I do that with like everything. I'm the researcher too. I have to Google every single thing
before you commit. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I mean, now that you say it, it sounds like everyone should do it, but obviously I don't think everyone would do that, to research the client that they're going for and say, hey, this is what you've been looking for, or I have something to add that's a little bit different than what you've been doing in the past. Interesting. So how is it in the audition process? Like, obviously I'm sure there's a lot of women that maybe look like you or look different. Like, what is that process like? Is it the same thing? Like, you just kind of in your own zone and focus on things that you researched, make sure your personality came across on tape and on camera? Like, what was that process? Was anything different in that particular?
Well, each audition is kind of different, but they're the same at the end of the day. You walk in, sometimes there are 50 girls waiting, so you're like looking at people, other people are looking at you, and you're like, oh, I seen her here, or, you know. Yeah. Some people are talking, some people are in the corner like mugging. Yeah. And
does that make a difference? I mean, you've been in that world long enough. Do you think that the individuals that are picking these girls and these looks for their campaign, do you think that they look at that and see, okay, what girl is talking to who's standoffish? Does that matter to them? Or I'm just asking to someone that has no clue.
Right. I don't think that, because most of the time they're not in the room. We usually like in a waiting room, like, and they call you individually in, or maybe like a group of 4 or 5 in at a time. Okay. So they don't really see like before you walk in. So there's no secret
window, like,
hopefully not that I know of. I mean, there might be, but no, you know, and it is intimidating, and that's really the hardest part of the job, is getting the job, auditioning, because you know, you walk into a room and there are maybe sometimes 10 people just looking at you, taking notes. Sometimes they measure you when you're in there. And, sometimes, like a lot of times, I didn't fit the clothes,
Yeah.
I have hips, and that was a little challenging, um, just coming up modeling.
Yeah.
But, the audition process is crazy because you don't know what they want. Like,
Correct.
you know what they want on paper, like we want a 5'10" with this look specifically, but you don't know if they want it in you, and you don't know what they're thinking about you. So a lot of times
Has
I
to be
leave
a little
audition.
nerve-wracking,
I'll be
though.
in there like nervous. I've bombed so many auditions, like just.
But you kept going.
Yeah, just because of nerves. I mean, that's really part of modeling. Like, you get rejected all the time. I might audition 10 times and book no jobs. Audition 20 times and book one job. Audition 7 times and book 5 jobs.
Wow.
So it's really like, modeling is like day to day. Like, one week I might work every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might not work for 2 months.
Yeah. You gotta have somewhat of a thick skin, I would imagine.
You have to have a super thick skin.
Yeah. Getting told no often can get to you, especially if that's your passion and you feel like, what's going on with me?
And not just being told no in particular, just waiting and not knowing. Like, sometimes they'll be like, oh, you're in the top picks, and it's a really good job. Oh, you'll hear from them by then, and then you don't hear anything. And you're just like, I mean, I've cried a couple times for some jobs that I did not book, that I was like this close to booking.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure that comes along with the territory.
it does, but it's part of it.
What do you have going on now? So, I mean, I see you with a shirt that says, what is it, Fashion Showdown?
Yes, Fashion Showdown.
Is that a part of your brand?
It is.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, like from earlier, I did Project Runway. So doing that, it was a competition for designers. And I'm like, I feel like I can do something because actually a few years before that, in 2013, I did a modeling boot camp.
Okay.
So I brought like a group of 15 girls, and I pretty much gave them all my modeling,
like tools.
The
and
school that I
and...
went to when I was young. I gave them all of that in a 2-day period.
Wow.
So I did a camp for girls. I did that for 1 year, and I was like, this is fun, helping people out, and playing sports. You always do community service, like you're picking up trash in neighborhoods or feeding the homeless. So it was always something that I would give back since a little kid. So it was like, I need to do something now that I'm grown. It's something that I can do myself. So I did the boot camp. And then a few years went by and people were like, bring the boot camp back. But I'm like, I want to do something else. I want to do it for designers now.
Okay.
So I had this idea to do a fashion designer competition in Houston. We've done 2 now. So we have like 12 designers. They come and compete for cash and prizes. And the winner gets a trip to New York for Fashion Week.
Wow. That's big.
Yes. So
Fashion Week is like the covenant, if I'm not mistaken, is like
covenant.
the biggest thing in modeling, right?
Well.
Or for designers, I should say.
For designers, yeah, but see, also that kind of changed when the industry changed. Also, Fashion Week is not like exclusive and as big as it used to be, because it would just be in one. When I first moved to New York, Fashion Week was in Bryant Park, so they would put a tent up in Bryant Park and everybody would come to that location. But now it's like everybody can do a Fashion Week show now. Like, it's the week that the seasons change and everything. They show stuff for the next year. But now everybody does a show for Fashion Week. So it's still a big thing in the city, but it's not like exclusive as it used to be.
Once was.
Yes. But, people come from all over the world to show their clothes during Fashion Week. So it's still a big thing if you can get it down there. And it's not an easy thing to do, especially for local talent, people that have good work ethic, good designs and dreams, but can't afford to show their work in New York. So we do this competition, duke it out, one big runway show, and like I said, the winner gets a trip to New York for Fashion Week.
Wow. So if somebody is a designer out there that's watching this now, or a family member of someone that's a designer and they're interested in getting their stuff made or getting seen, they can enter your fashion show, which there's another one coming in 2020?
2020, we're going to do our 3rd Fashion Showdown Houston.
Awesome. Here
in Houston. So they can go to the website, thefashionshowdown.com.
Okay.
and get more information about the show. Register when we open up the registration process, which will probably be in around January or February.
Okay.
For
So
the
beginning
show
of next
to
year,
be in the
Q1.
summertime. Yes.
Awesome. So it's in the summertime. You're doing it in Houston.
Again. And
Perfect.
also, I'm going to do it in Atlanta also.
Oh, so you're doing it in Atlanta as well.
Yes.
So it's going to be 2 fashion showdowns next year?
2 fashion showdowns next year.
Oh, nice. Perfect. So you're going to have 2 showdowns. So you're going to, is it 24 contestants? 12 in Houston, 12 in Atlanta?
I really don't.
We're still ironing out the kinks?
We haven't,
Okay.
Started the audition process or picked the designers yet.
Gotcha.
But the goal is to have
the goal.
24 designers.
And those designers that win that competitions have the opportunity to
Come
go to New York and be a part of Fashion Week.
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome.
Thanks.
That's all something wow. Well, that's good. I mean, using the things that you've learned, obviously in the industry, something that you have a passion for and develop a passion for, but also passing that on to the next generation and using your influence to help them in the industry that's, giving you so much.
Yes, and
that's awesome.
I have so much knowledge about the industry, but it's like all crunched into my head, you know. I've been doing it for so long, so like things now, like I don't know. I'm not that humble, I guess, but it's just like nothing really makes me feel like super excited anymore. I'm like, okay, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
When other people talk about it, then I'm like, oh, I can't believe I actually did that.
I know, that's a long way. A lot of people are struggling just to accomplish a tenth of what you have.
I've been like extremely blessed, and my mom has really helped that out, just knowing people and putting me in the places that I needed to be to get there. But it's crazy when I think about it, think back on it. Yeah, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm flipping through a magazine and that's me.
That is you. Well, I've seen you on commercials, and I think that you have an awesome story to be told. Thank you for sharing it. There's so much more to it that we can probably spend a lot more time and kind of go into more detail about all the information that you said that you have about this particular industry. But if anyone wants to know more, if anyone wants to get to know you a little bit more, where can they find you? I know we have your Fashion Showdown website that we're going to plug. What about social? Can people find you there?
Yes, I'm on all social media platforms. Chekesha J, that's CHEKESHA That's on Instagram and Twitter. I'm on Facebook, Chekesha Johnson. I'm on Pinterest, YouTube,
Anywhere. You're everywhere.
Yes.
Perfect. What's your YouTube?
My YouTube is Fashion Showdown is the one I'm working on mostly. So we'll do everything on Fashion Showdown.
Perfect. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please go to the show notes. All that will be in the show notes that you can click and kind of follow Chekesha. Again, myself here, Melvin Johnson. I'm at all sites at ProcessTheMel, MEL. The show here is Processing the Process. But again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your story. You have so much. But please, everyone, go out, subscribe to her Fashion Showdown page on YouTube. Please follow her on all social sites and find everything that she's doing. And listen up, if you're in Houston or you're in Atlanta, be on the lookout for the Fashion Showdown that's coming in 2020.
Yes.
Designers, calling all designers. I think you have a great one. And I'm not sure if you've seen, but here at the show, my little parting shot, if you will, is always a two-parter. One question that's a two-parter.
Okay.
And because we live in a time where things can live on the internet forever, which is a great thing, and I want to put out positive vibes, I want to put out positive energy. And the question I have for you in business, is there any company that you still want to work with as a model, a gig that you want to get, someone within the industry that you want to work with that you haven't because it's just outside of your reach? Is there anybody that you want to be connected with? That's the first. And the other second half of that is if it's not just about modeling, if it's just selfishly you just want to meet someone just because you're a fan of theirs, who would that be? So you have one question but a two-part answer.
Ooh, okay. I had a whole list of goals of jobs that I wanted to do before I stopped modeling. And I've pretty much done and worked with all of those clients.
Congratulations.
Except,
Uh-oh.
Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated.
Yes, I want to be in the swimsuit issue. I have to do that before I retire. So that is the goal. I'm going to be on Sports Illustrated.
Yes.
Target was another one of my goals, but then I just shot that.
You just
last
booked Target?
week. Yes, I just booked Target.
Congratulations.
Yay,
So we
you
can
will
see you
me
in
in some
Target
Target
soon?
ads. Yes.
Perfect. We'll look for some Target ads. Well, is there anyone on a personal level that's just selfishly you want to meet?
Modeling. See, I wanted to meet Naomi Campbell, but then I met her.
Perfect. Well, that's good.
I still haven't met Tyra Banks, though. I do want to meet her.
Perfect. So,
but if there's really anybody I can meet, it would be Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Okay. You throw out a lot of names.
I did.
Perfect. But it's all good names. I think that's great. So we have some really big asks for everyone that's out there listening and watching. One, Sports Illustrated. So if we can campaign around Chekesha, if we're on her social and you see pictures, tag
MJ Day.
Yep. Tag.
MJ Day.
Make sure that Sports Illustrated gets on their radar, that they know who she is, so we can get her in there. And if for any reason, she gave us two people, so Tyra Banks and Michelle Obama.
Yes.
If that can happen, it'd be amazing. But those are the two individuals that we're shooting for. So let's help make that happen. But again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Perfect. All right. You have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.